At its peak, Rome had 500,000 soldiers deployed across 3 continents. No supply chains, no refrigeration, no MREs. And every single one of them was fed for years on a biscuit you could make in your kitchen tonight with 2 ingredients. It didn't rot. It didn't crumble. It could sit in a soldier's pack for 6 months and still be edible. The Roman army called it bucellatum. And the fact that you've never heard of it might be the most useful thing you learn this year. Chapter 1. The problem Rome had to solve. Rome had an army problem that no civilization before them had ever faced at scale. They weren't fighting battles near home. They were fighting in Britain, in Egypt, in Persia, thousands of miles from Rome. And every soldier needed roughly 3,000 calories a day just to function. More if they were marching. More again if they were fighting. Feeding a stationary army is hard enough. Feeding an army in motion, an army that could cover 20 Roman miles a day, roughly 18 modern miles, in full armor and kit. That's a logistics problem that would break most modern military planners. The solution the Romans landed on was so elegant, it's almost offensive. Grain, specifically wheat, frumentum. Every Roman soldier was issued roughly 830 grams of grain per day. Not bread, grain. They ground it themselves, mixed it with water, and baked it directly on the coals of their campfire. But raw grain is heavy. Unsalted flatbread goes stale fast. And a soldier who stops to bake every morning is a soldier who isn't marching. So Rome solved it differently. Chapter 2. Bucellatum, the biscuit that fed an empire. Bucellatum is the ancestor of what sailors would later call hardtack. But the Roman version was refined over centuries of campaign feedback, field-tested by millions of soldiers across every climate on Earth. The recipe is almost insultingly simple. Wheat flour, water, salt. That's it. You mix it stiff, much stiffer than bread dough. You shape it into small rounds, roughly the size of your palm. Then you bake it twice. That second bake is everything. The first bake cooks it. The second bake dries it, pulls out almost every trace of moisture. What you end up with is closer to a ceramic tile than bread. You can't bite through it without soaking it first. That's intentional. No moisture means no mold. No mold means no spoilage. A properly made bucellatum could last 6 months in a pack. Some accounts suggest up to a year. Each soldier carried roughly 3 days of bucellatum on his person at all times, about 1.3 kilograms, plus additional rations in the centuries' shared mule train. The entire caloric foundation of the most powerful military force in human history fit in a satchel. The word bucellatum itself became so synonymous with soldiers that the late Roman bucellarii, elite cavalry, literally translates to biscuit men. You were what you ate. Chapter 3. The drink nobody talks about. Here's where it gets interesting. Bucellatum alone would make you survive, but Roman soldiers weren't just surviving, they were performing. Marching 18 miles in armor, building fortified camps every single night, then fighting. Their caloric and electrolyte demands were enormous. The Romans had a second secret weapon, and it wasn't wine. It was posca. Posca was a mixture of water and vinegar, typically sour wine vinegar, sometimes with a small amount of herbs or honey. It sounds revolting. It was standard issue. Roman soldiers drank it instead of water when possible. And the reasons stack up fast. Vinegar, acetic acid, kills most waterborne bacteria. In an era before germ theory, the Romans had accidentally engineered a purification system. A soldier drinking posca on campaign was far less likely to die of dysentery than one drinking untreated river water. It also replaced electrolytes. Vinegar contains potassium and small amounts of other minerals. For a soldier sweating through armor in a Mediterranean summer, this mattered, and it was shelf-stable. A leather flask of posca could travel for weeks without spoiling. When a Roman soldier offered Jesus vinegar on the cross, that wasn't cruelty or mockery. It was sharing his rations. Posca was what they drank. Chapter 4. The full kit. What a Roman soldier actually carried. So let's put the full picture together. What did a Roman legionary eat on campaign? Bucellatum was the base. roughly 800 calories of dense, imperishable carbohydrate carried on his body at all times. Beyond that, the centuries' supply train, mules carrying shared provisions, added dried or salted meat when available, dried legumes, lentils and chickpeas primarily, olive oil for calories in cooking, and posca for the march. When the army was stationary long enough to set up a proper camp, soldiers cooked pulse, a wheat porridge, essentially Roman oatmeal, over communal fires. Fast to make, high in calories, uses the same grain base they already carried. Total daily ration on campaign, roughly 3,000 to 3,500 calories, heavily grain-based, supplemented by preserved proteins and fat from olive oil. Almost no fresh food, and they performed on it. For years, the Roman military diet wasn't luxurious. It wasn't comfortable. But it was ruthlessly optimized for what an army actually needs: caloric density, shelf stability, portability, and the ability to be produced in bulk at low cost. Chapter 5. Why this still matters. Here's the thing about bucellatum. You can make it tonight. Whole wheat flour, water, salt, mix stiff. Shape. Bake at 375 for 30 minutes. Pull it out, let it cool, put it back in at 250 for another 45 minutes. Let it cool completely before sealing. Done. 6 months of shelf life, no preservatives, no refrigeration. About 12 cents per serving in flour costs. Modern preppers spend hundreds of dollars on freeze-dried meal kits with 5-year shelf lives and complicated preparation requirements. The Romans solved the same problem 2,000 years ago with a grain mill and a fire. Posca is even simpler. Apple cider vinegar, water, a pinch of salt, a drizzle of honey if you want it drinkable, your water purification, your electrolyte replacement, and your daily drink in one flask. The Roman Empire lasted 500 years. At its height, it fed and fielded 500,000 professional soldiers across 3 continents simultaneously. They didn't do it with technology we don't have. They did it with 2 ingredients and a second bake. The alternate past isn't that far away. If this is your first time here, this channel is about one thing. The people who came before us knew things we've forgotten. About survival, about food, about staying alive when everything is stripped away. We're going to go through every major civilization and pull out what actually worked. Next up, Viking field preservation. The Norse had a method for keeping meat edible through an entire winter campaign that required 0 fire, 0 salt, and could be done anywhere in the world with 1 ingredient. That video is coming. If you want to be notified when it drops, subscribe and hit the bell. If you make the bucellatum, drop a photo in the comments. I want to see it.